Sorry about that. Got 2 mics. Is it working now? Can you hear me? Testing. Can you hear me now? I turned up the volume on my iPad.
Is it working now?
Got it.
Can you hear me?
Cool. Technology, right? Okay. Thank you for letting me know, Jimmy. I was like, yeah. Okay. Let me turn this down. Okay. Well, welcome to my live. I'm sorry about that. I got a iPhone 17 2 Saturdays ago, and then I had to order new mics. I've done 2 lives with them, and they've worked, but there's been glitchy spots. So there's probably something wrong with them. But I can read comments on my iPad. It's easier on my eyes at my age. So let me go back real quick, and I'll say hello to everybody that's here. And I appreciate you sticking with me. So, okay, Galbahars 8. Hi, tell me where you're from. Somebody put a message that's being held for a review, so I don't know what that's about. Let's see. And it's not showing me what it is. Joby Bum 1235. Hello. Then Hafed Azuli. There's no sound. Yes, I know that, but welcome. Everybody, if I mention your name, tell me where you're from. I'm imagining some of these names are not from the United States, so let me know where you're from. Thank you, Bahars. Okay, so Jimmy, I know you. Well, I mean through YouTube, but welcome, and I know where you're from. So glad to see you here. Thank you for joining me. So is that it? Is that the 5? I might have lost one. Anyways, okay. So yes, loud and clear. I see that now. We'll carry on. I just wanted to get on. I know it's Christmas Eve, and you know, I'm in Western Colorado, and we are like, I think it's 40 degrees out there right now. I don't know if you can see through my window or not, but there's no snow out there. I mean, there's patches on the north side of the barn and the house and my greenhouse and stuff. But we haven't had snow in like 2 weeks. We will not have a white Christmas for the first time. We've lived up here 22 years, not at this house, but in this area. Um, and we've only not had a white Christmas with fresh snow 2 years, and this will be one of them. So, um, bummed about that because I do love winter. I don't want to travel in it too far, but I would love to see it on the ground. And we might get rain later. We had a little bit of rain last night, um, but not much. But the grass is greening up again. I mean, it's literally like uh, spring or fall. So, anyways, I'll read some comments. So I see some more up there. So, yep. Okay, nice, loud and clear. Colorado Springs here originally from the Mississippi Gulf Coast, right? And that's a neat area, Jimmy. I haven't spent a lot of time on the Gulf Coast. I've been in Mississippi. I've traveled through Mississippi getting to Florida a couple times. And it's very diverse. You know, you don't have the mountains like we have in Colorado, but it's neat. And you know, I think the United States is a very diverse country anyways. You know, look at us here in Colorado. We've got the Rocky Mountains. Um, but then you go to all the coasts and you know, you have beaches and I mean, I know all countries are surrounded by water, but or most of them anyways, but it's just I think we really got it good here. Um Almost 70. Really? Is that warm on that side? Wow. I guess I should be reading the comments here. I'm not having to strain my eyes. So, 70 degrees. Well, I think my husband went fishing today for a little bit with a friend, and we have a reservoir 11 miles to the east from here, from our house. Um, and we're kind of up against the hill, but where it's open, he said it was going to be almost 60 degrees out there. So I guess we're going to warm up here too, but we've been kind of cloudy and it's starting to burn off. So um, whether we get rain at 2 or 3 this afternoon, we'll see. But anyways, uh, yeah. So anyways, anybody else want to say where you're from? I know there's a few more on here. At least two I see right now. I lost a few. You know, the sound thing, technology, every time I do a live, if I have a problem with it, I lose people. So Mississippi Gulf Coast is so different. Yeah, I agree than the rest of the state. Hard times, Mississippi. Yeah. Well, you know, my dad was from Arkansas, and you know, I get that hard times. He was from the Ozarks, and I mean, they left. He was born there, but he was 3 years old when they left. They moved to Northern California, up to Redding, California, and but then they moved back when he was like 6, and tried to make a living there. And I think they lasted 2 years, and basically came back west again to California again to the same area they were in. But yeah, there's a lot of. But I think I know we think alike. There's a lot of hard times um, going on right now. It doesn't even matter if you're in an area that's known for that. This town I'm in, it's a lot of second homes and, you know, people with money that have cabins around the lakes. And there's 300 lakes up here on the Grand Mesa. And, but it's hard. And you see a lot of them for sale, vacant, like they're just not using them. They can't afford to maintain them. Noticing them that, or noticing that. And I think, I've been a realtor all my life, till I retired, and I noticed, upkeep on houses, and I'm thinking, well, somebody was in that house last year, and now it's vacant, boarded up even. So see it over here, and this is kind of a second home community. We live here full time. My husband's third generation here, but uh, yeah, it's kind of known for its agriculture and its cattle. It's a cow town. But yeah, it's nice. But I'm ready to move on. I totally do not want to be in Colorado. Really, the closest I would like to move to is maybe Montana or Wyoming. But I don't think I'm going to get my husband out of Colorado yet. And it's not that he's not fed up with it because he thinks like me. Um, but the fact that he is third generation in this little town kind of hurts us because he doesn't want to leave. So, anyways, uh, two houses. Oh man, really? See, and those come out to me. Those hurricanes. Oh my gosh, you don't have a lot of time. I grew up in Southern California. We had earthquakes, and you don't have a lot of time with those either. I mean, they're happening when they're happening. You kind of feel it. It's hard to describe if you haven't experienced earthquakes, but the electricity in the air is just, and it's super calm, and dogs will start howling, but they come out of you, but they don't have the devastation normally unless they hit like a downtown area or take out a bridge or that kind of stuff. But the majority of the earthquakes, the ground rolls, settles down, and your house may have a crack or two. Something might have fallen off the mantle. That was my houses growing up. We'd lose something outside, would fall over and break, or something would fall off the mantle. But those hurricanes, they scare me. I mean, tornadoes a little bit, but at least you kind of know, when they touch down, you see them. But man, the winds with those hurricanes and stuff, I don't know that I could ever live on the East Coast. I visited there a lot, but I don't know that I could. I know it's pretty though, so um, yeah. And I've never lost. I grew up California. We always said shake or bake. We have devastating fires out there every year. I always grew up in the country. Our property's mostly backed up to national forest. I had horses my whole life, and I'd ride up into the national forest right from our back of our property. And we had some devastating forest fires. We never lost a house. Knock on wood, never have, never will. But yeah, it's been a lot of devastation too with natural disasters. So, but here we had a really bad slide in 2014 that took the lives of 3 people here, and that's kind of this area. We're not even in an earthquake area really, so we're kind of lucky here. That is one thing I kind of like about Colorado. It doesn't have the faults. Like I grew up in California in the southern Sierra Nevadas, around Bishop and Lone Pine, Tehachapi, um, and we had the San Andreas Fault running through or within a mile of every house I ever lived in growing up. So, um, you know, so we would seriously experience some earthquakes, but it's safer right on the fault because it hits and then it radiates out. So, um, we had crack in our stucco a couple times, but never really anything big. So, um, yeah, yeah, I like the West too. I wouldn't go back to California, obviously. That been there, done that. When I left there in 1989, I've been back 5 times for 2 funerals, 2 weddings, and a family reunion over the course. I left, all those years ago, so don't go there very often, and I haven't been now. I went, 4 years after my dad died, 22 years ago, so 18 years ago was the last time I was there. Um, My husband's never been to Disneyland. Every once in a while, he mentions taking the grandkids there, and I says, "Will you go?" I don't care for that. I don't like that kind of stuff anymore. I mean, I used to, but not my thing. I'll go sit on the side of a mountain and have a lake and camp. So, but yeah, yeah, I love the West. My heart is in Alaska, but my husband doesn't like the cold. The funny thing is, most of the time, we like Talkeetna up by the base of McKinley. Um, and it's where I have a video where I'm flying around Mount McKinley. And I've done that a few times, but I've been to the Iditarod a couple times, and we just like that there. Half the time we're colder than them. They do get more snow, but our temperatures when we're having real winter, we're colder. So, you know, there is that. So San Diego is nice. I have relatives there. My youngest brother's still in Southern California, and he lived in San Diego for a while, but when his wife passed away, he moved back up to the Antelope Valley, which is kind of the area I grew up in as a young child. So, and he likes it there. He got a job there. He's not quite retirement age, I think this year or next year, maybe. So, yeah, I guess you probably do remember why you left. And yeah, those hurricanes, I don't think I could do those. I don't want to do tornadoes either. My niece lives in the center part of Wisconsin. She moved there a few years ago from Idaho, my middle niece. And she's always having to go to her basement for those tornadoes. She's the way Tornado Alley swoops up out of Oklahoma. My husband's sister lives right smack in the middle of it. They've lost some stuff. They've lost sheds and stuff to tornadoes, um, but my niece is at the upper end of it, and she'll be at work. She works nights, and the bells or sirens or whatever go off, and they all have to go to this center break room inside the big plant that she works at. And if she's home, just to go into her basement. I've never been there visiting her when she's had a tornado, but I've been in Branson, Missouri when one came down, and we went to a library. They were directing people off the streets. I was with my parents, actually. I had met up with them, and we had done a family reunion in Arkansas. This was probably just 10 years before my dad died. And, anyways, yeah, I am originally born in California. I don't tell a whole lot of people that. I was born in West Covina, California, but we never, my dad was a general contractor and he would work all year round. And then when summer came, we took off, and we were gone at least a month. Then we'd come home for a couple weeks for fair because we had fair animals and stuff. And then we'd leave again. So we toured all the lower 48. Never have seen Hawaii, and I really don't care to. I don't care for heat. Um, San Diego. Oh, wow. So that's where your two grandchildren are. Cool. Yeah, San Diego's nice. I like the town of Julian, um, but I don't see me ever living in California again. But I do like it down there. And that's where my brother lived for a while, was in Julian, but he worked in San Diego. Um, but yeah, it's gorgeous down there. I mean, you got the beach, you got desert, you got mountains where Julian is. I love that whole vibe. Um, but yeah, yeah. I don't see me ever. I would do Wyoming or Montana because I know I'll never get my husband to Alaska. So we actually have owned property there, but it was a fishing property we owned with some friends, and they were getting up there in age and wanted to sell it a few years ago. We were looking to buy. We didn't want to buy that one out because we were actually that was down in Southeast Alaska. We were looking around Talkeetna, and I find stuff all the time. I'm constantly on Zillow and realtor.com looking at property in Alaska, Montana, Wyoming, um, a few places around here, but I just want out of this state. It's not, when I left California in 1989, I came here to Colorado because it was conservative. And it's not conservative now. Um, yeah, I won't go too deep into political because I try not to on YouTube. But yeah, we've got our governor and our, what is he, the first man in the house or whatever. It's not the first lady, but that right there almost got my husband to move. Almost. I mean, we actually were talking about moving to Alaska pre-2020. But then that didn't happen. Then his youngest boy from Seattle, Washington, with the two little grandkids that live an hour and a half from us, moved to, I found him a house the end of 2020 in October. They moved to Grand Junction. Once those two grandkids and my husband's son and daughter-in-law moved, he never wanted to leave because his son is his mini me and they're big time hunters. So, And it's been good for my husband to have his youngest boy that close because they're literally like twins. And now the grandkids, they're 9 and 7. The older boy next year can turkey hunt with my husband or his dad, kind of as a mentor, and that's fun. And they're looking forward to it. They're raising them in the outdoor lifestyle, so that's really cool. They love to fish. They might come up today and meet up with my husband, but my husband went on up to fish with a friend from here, and his son and the two grandsons might come up for a little bit. I mean, it's gorgeous weather. I'm sitting here in a sweatshirt with no, um, my little heater's not on. I normally am down here, with my little heater on. I have a little electric fireplace. Um, I got the door open. The sun's coming in. So, anyways, but yeah, I've been rambling. I'm sorry about that. I basically, we were from West Covina, and then we moved to Tehachapi, California, and then between there and Lone Pine and Bishop, my grandpa had pumice mines, and my dad, with his general contractor's license, him and my grandpa were um, basically prefabbing pumice houses for like Kern County, up around Bakersfield. What's those towns up there? I've been gone too long from California. Modesto, um, below Sacramento, a couple of the big towns there. But anyways, they actually prefabbed and got approved by the state of California to build these houses, and they built a tract of homes. My grandpa supplied the material; he was the miner, and then my dad was the general contractor on it. So we stayed in California longer than my dad ever wanted to. He was originally from Northern California, but his family had all morphed into uh, Idaho. So a lot of our trips and family vacations were always to Idaho. My dad retired at age 55, got done with building all those homes, got done being a general contractor on custom homes. And him and my mom moved to Idaho on the Snake River out in a little county called Owyhee County. He got on the sheriff's posse, and I'm so glad he did because at age 65, he came down with pancreatic cancer. And from the time he found out he had it till he died was 7 weeks. So he had those 10 years. So if he hadn't retired early and had retired at 65, like most people do, um, he wouldn't have had any time. So, yeah, I retired a couple years early just because I could get on Social Security. And I was like, I'm done. I'm not going to be, I wanted to retire at 55. Probably should have. Real estate was really good then, and it hasn't been that great. I was a very small broker in this town and would have 5 or 6 listings at a time, but um, right now, and the funny thing is we listed our house. So we actually listed it in May, and the friend of mine, and he wasn't doing crap. And so I fired him, and he had it listed Memorial Day weekend. So he had it June and July. And I told him, look, I'm taking it over August 1st, and I'm just putting it on Zillow. I'll market myself. I'm getting way more. I put it out there on Facebook pages for real estate. I mean, I'm marketing. Put it on Facebook pages for Pennsylvania because that's where a lot of hunters come from, and ours is a hunting property. So, um, yeah, I can tell you're too conservative for this wretched state too. Um, See, now I like Nevada. Carson City, that area is fun. That wasn't too far from where my parents ended up in Idaho. They were straight up from that area. So my older brother actually lived in Elko, Nevada, and worked at the prison there, prison, I guess. I'm not sure what level it was, but he worked there 4 or 5 years. My middle niece that's in Wisconsin was born there, and they were there 4 years. The oldest one so his girls were born in Boise, and then Elko, and then one in Twin Falls, the last one, and he's been there ever since. Um, but yeah, we used to go down to. I like Carson City. I like that a lot. I don't care for Reno, and I don't care for the Lake Tahoe area, even though as a kid, we went there a lot. We would have family reunions at Lake Tahoe because all my cousins and I had 18 cousins, aunts, and uncles from Idaho, southern Idaho. And so we'd all converge on Lake Tahoe and have family reunions. But Carson City, I like. My parents owned property. what is the name of that lake? Um, I'll have to think of that. They bought like a 2-acre piece. They were going to build a house there, and they'd already moved to Idaho, but my brother was in Elko, and they decided they were gonna get a second home down there and just kind of that way they could see the grandkids more. But they ended up selling it. They never built on it. So I can't remember why. Started with a B, the lake, I think. I'll think of it. So yeah. So anyways, well, I hope you're having a nice Christmas Eve day. I had a few hours to kill in the middle of the day. We got places to go. I'm going to deliver cookies later to our neighbors, and then we're going to go to one of their house for like a finger food dinner. We're going to try to tour the lights after we leave their house because they're older and they don't stay up very late. I think they'll be in bed by 7. But so if it gets dark, I think we're going to tour out a little town. Probably take 10 minutes to see all the lights. But we haven't done that yet. So we were going to do it yesterday, and we ended up cutting firewood, and my back's toast. So yeah, we just didn't go out and see the lights. But anyways, but Christmas is coming, and again, I really appreciate your comments on my video. It's getting some interest. I'm trying to grow this channel because I'll tell you what, Social Security doesn't cut it. Not that I was a very lucrative realtor, but I was used to making big chunks of money at a time for a closing, and going on Social Security in December, well, January was my first one. It's like, wow, I got to do something. So I babysit my grandkids a lot during the week because my daughter-in-law cleans houses. And so I'll pick the boys up from school, and I'll have them for an hour, maybe 2 hours in the afternoons. And so I was driving to town all the time, and my husband kept saying, "You're spending all this money on gas." We're an hour and a half away. We're on top of the Grand Mesa. They're in Grand Junction. I can be from my house to their house in an hour and a half. And so I started doing Instacart, and that's okay. But um, I'm tired of that, and that's work. YouTube is fun for me. I really enjoy it, and I've never been a creative person. I know I can talk, so that's become my creativity. So 4 days? I didn't know that. What kind of cancer, if you don't mind me asking? Oh, that's so sad. I mean, you guys had no time. My parents didn't have time on 7 weeks. They just told my dad, "It's all through you, stage 4, pancreatic cancer, and go home and get your affairs in order." But so what kind was hers? A friend of mine in Minnesota, he's a hunting friend of ours. Arlen called us at Easter, told us that his wife had cancer, and he wasn't going to come out here and go turkey hunting with my husband. And 7 days later, she was gone. So similar. She had it all through her, but I think it was actually like a liver cancer or something, if I remember right. But oh, I can't even process that. 4 days. I mean, I'm sorry. I know what you're dealing with now, and that's. I mean, that's not. You don't get the long goodbye. My dad was very thankful that he got to tell people goodbye, and he kept saying that. He goes, "I don't even have time to get affairs in order. You kids help mom sell the stuff and get out of the house and all that," which we did. But yeah, but he did say cancer gave him a chance to call people up and tell them goodbye. A few of his friends from California drove up to Idaho to see him. He was bedridden the last 2 weeks. He went downhill really fast. But and being an RN too, I'm assuming she probably maybe felt that something wasn't right. I mean, 4 days, that's got to be, it's incomprehensible. I'm in shock. I did not realize it was that quick. So yeah, you've had major life change this year. So um, and I've never lost a spouse. I was married before, and that didn't work out. And Then I was divorced 5 years before I met John, and then we got married another 5 years. So and did a lot of stuff on my own on that. You know, yeah, I can't imagine losing a spouse. So, hey, I see somebody else here, so please jump in. Jimmy and I are talking back and forth because we've been following each other's channels and um, kind of have been chatting already through posts and stuff. So, um, but I see more on here. So, introduce yourself. Tell me where you're from. We're just doing a little Christmas live. If you're new to this, I um, just doing I kind of thought of it last night. I was going to do a video today, and I don't really have anything I want to talk about pre-Christmas. I got some video ideas for after Christmas. This doing Vlogmas every day is using up all my ideas. So, and I wrote down a whole bunch of notes on my phone, and I just click them off as the one I did, Jimmy, about the not being alone or not being lonely when you're alone. I guess I posted yesterday. Finally, I recorded it and then I pulled it and pulled it back into CapCut and added to it. And then I thought, no, I'm just going to do a whole new video that day. So it should have posted like a week ago, truthfully. And that was, I think, before I talked to you. So when I pulled it back out, I did an addition and I didn't like it. So I redid the whole video that day. So, and then it still took 3 or 4 days for me to get it edited. I was trying to use 2 cameras for the first time ever. And that's why I look away. But trying to meld those, I couldn't get the CapCut software to sync them right. The sound was off. My mouth would be moving on one. So I just cut out the B-roll that I had done on the camera. And I don't want to make this too technical, but I watch other people and think that'd be cool to do. But I'm going to go back to my simple videos. So, anyways, Jimmy, are you still here? I'll end this in about 7 minutes at 11:45, so I can go up. I got to make Christmas cookies. I've made a bunch of them and froze the cookies. I got to frost a bunch, but then I made another half a batch this morning because I'm going to take those tomorrow because I think I'm going to end up getting rid of all the ones I made previously and frosted 2 days ago. So I got to get them out of the freezer too. But I appreciate this. I see 3 on, and I know Jimmy was one of them. But oh, she died. Oh man. Oh geez. Yeah, that's a bad one. I know a guy right now that has colorectal cancer, and I think they told him he probably got diagnosed in November, or late October, early November, and I think they told him, you know, 6 months, and we haven't seen him. Actually, he lives over in Buena Vista, and he's a good friend of my husband's. My husband's known him his whole life, I think, since they were kids. But I've known him 30 years now, probably. And he didn't come deer hunting this year. So that would have been, he found out and then he canceled his deer hunting. He was supposed to come over. He was going to hunt our property. We have a hayfield and he was going to hunt over our hayfield. He has uh, MS, so he can't walk real good. So he comes out. My husband helps get him in the blind. He sits with him. And anyways, so yeah, that's horrible. Oh, you and Boops just really had a life change. Yeah. I might have read that or saw that on one of your videos. I've gone back, but I haven't watched them in order. This has been a busy time and I'm trying to do this Vlogmas. So I usually have a lot of time in the evenings. I sit down and I watch all my favorites and watch a video or two for people. And been doing that for years. And then, finally I get so tired my eyes are closing. I try to go to bed and read from a real book because I try to get away from the screen. But anyways, yeah, kind of like my dad, but she went faster. So, um, hold on, my screen just went black on my pad. It might be the battery. No, it's charged. Um, gosh, yeah. Well, and I was reading, and I think I saw you have 2 kids. I skipped some. Let's see. You have 2 grandchildren. Maybe I read it on one of your. Maybe I read it or on one of your other videos. I thought you said you had 2 kids. Um, yeah, Carson City. I could see you going back there. I mean, you know, Nevada is fairly conservative. Um, Utah is supposed to be, but I do not like the political climate in Utah. Never been my thing. And the religious climate. There's some pretty spots. I actually live up around Vernal in just Flaming Gorge area. I like the little town of Price. When I'd go see my parents in Idaho, I'd take the cutoff. And yeah, devastating. Yeah. Wow. Everybody gets to see. I like your rants. I haven't got to watch all of them. No, they're not stupid. So something I found out is that everybody has an audience somehow. Um, and I like the name. Your channel name says it all, Jimmy Rants. But yeah, I mean, I'm in a niche that, RV. I know a lot of full time nomads, and that an incoming call. Which I have call silence, but that one came through. Um, and it said spam. Uh, um, but we had a music channel. So my husband plays bass. I used to play drums. I have carpal tunnel pretty bad now, and I can't even hold drumsticks. But we were in I'm a classic rock girl, but there's a lot of country music around this town, this cow town. And so he was in a band that he was in at first. And even went to Nashville. Our drummer was actually from Nashville, had played with quite a few of the popular bands there, but had moved to my town to live near his brother, but he had COPD. And we got a gig in Nashville. Rick was too sick. He went, but he couldn't drum, and I filled in. I played drums in high school and was in the marching band, and then I was in a girl group when I was in my early 20s, probably up till 26. And then I sold my drums. I hadn't drummed in forever, and so I had to fill in for Rick. And yeah, kind of, luckily it was a lot of Johnny Cash songs, so I got through it because I know those, and country, that kind of drumming wasn't hard, but I'm trying to think where I was going with this. Hey, Marcia, I see you here. Thanks for joining me. Um, but what I started to say, we had a music channel, and I was the one that did it. Well, the band broke up, and 4 of the 5 guys, in fact, my husband's the only guy that's still alive, between COVID and some heart attacks and cancer previous to 2020, and like boom, boom, boom years, like 2018, 19, and 20, and then a death in 2022. My husband's the last of the 5 guys. And of course, I'm still alive, but I didn't really call myself part of the band. But we had to take that down. The widow of the main guy, she took it over, and we kind of got in a little. It was my channel. So, and then I had another channel I had with my friend about dogs, and we were doing dog stuff. I try to do dog, and you'll like this, Marcia. I'm reading comments on my iPad, but uh, you play guitar, awesome. Well, see, we could do a band. Marcia, do you play anything? Marcia's one of my other long time. I've never met her. Been following her for a while, and she follows me. And she's got 3 Chesapeake Bay retrievers, right? The retrievers, gorgeous dogs. And she's building out a cargo trailer. So Marcia, Jimmy on here, he's from the other side of the state from me, and he's also we've discovered each other. He popped up in my feed, and started following him recently, and he just lost his wife 3 months ago now, I guess. So, okay, you can sing. Yes, you could be the lead singer. There we go. We got ourselves a band. The YouTube Misfits. I don't know what are we gonna call ourselves. We all have dogs, so we could tie it in with that too. So, I have to show you guys my little girl. If I'm in my vintage trailer, and I'm sorry, it's portrait. It would not flip over to landscape this time, but I gotta show you, Rye. I'll just do this. Mama's girl. No, don't wake up. Go back to sleep. I'm not going to hit you. She's like, Mom. I'll turn it back around now. That's my little girl. It's my Rai. Lobo, he's up there. I can see him. He's outside. I opened the gates. They're both outside, but he's not an inside dog. I took him over from my friends a couple years ago when they went to Japan. They're back, but they didn't want the dog back, and I'd had him about a year and a half at that point. So he's the full brother to her, but he's twice the size. He was more of a cattle dog. They had yaks and sheep. They had a couple cows and goats. And so he's a herding dog, but he's just not. I've taken him camping. I've took him to Quartzsite last winter. Well, the last 2 winters, because I just got him the winter before when they went to Japan at Christmas time. And we're going to be gone a year. And so he's just not comfortable. In fact, when he rides in I had a truck before I sold my truck a couple weeks ago. I have to put a dog kennel in it, turn it backwards, and otherwise he's constantly barking. He's just not a good traveler. If I ever take him to Arizona again, I'm gonna have to probably get some kind of something to mellow him out. So, anyways, well, Jimmy, I love your rants, and yes. Okay, now I have another. Hey, Augustine Ramon. Dislike? I'm not sure what you mean by that. That doesn't support my channel if you dislike me. So I'm not sure what that's about. But anyways, please go up and do hit the little like button. I see 6 now. So please go up and do that. Subscribe to my channel. I am trying to get monetized. That wasn't the actual to start. And Marcia does. Now you do Spark, and I do Instacart. But hi, sweetie. Yeah. And that's good. I go an hour and a half away to Instacart though. See, I don't. My tiny community doesn't have a supermarket. We have a 8-building main street. And so, the best I can do, and I've actually thought about doing this and making it a business, if I picked up orders for people that lived up here and delivered them and quit doing the Instacart and maybe just went down Monday. I don't like Fridays. I do not like Fridays. It's too busy for me. Maybe Monday, maybe the 4 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and even Thursday, because I usually babysit those days, and I don't normally babysit on Fridays unless they absolutely need me, because they get out of school 2 hours early, and my husband's youngest son, my stepson, is always out of work by noon. He has a short day unless something happens. So if there's an emergency, I pick the boys up. But most Fridays, unless it's summertime, in the summer, I'm with them almost every afternoon, or they're up here with us. So, my RV rocks. Thank you. I love it. We have, we had a huge Jayco that slept 10. It had 3 slides in 2018. And I got tired of going camping and being the only one that couldn't be outside because I was cleaning that dang thing. And at the same time, his son finally bought a used fifth wheel. So they got their own, so the grandkids could have their own bunk beds and they didn't have to be in ours. And I told my husband, I'm the one that tows the RVs around. Like he has a Forerunner right now, but he's always had Toyota pickups. I've always had F-250s or F-150s. I'm in the process of going back to an F-250 now. But I don't want power anything. I'm very, the vintage thing just clicks with me. This is my sixth vintage that I've owned to keep or, upgrade. And I've had this one almost 6 years. I've also flipped a couple. Maybe this is my fifth. I've flipped two so far, and I've got another one in the process. I have some work being done to it right now. I couldn't tow it home. It was falling apart. Uh, and then I cutesy them out. So, and then my husband's is gone right now getting some work done to it too. So he has a one 2 feet bigger than this. But he didn't like this one because it's too girly. It's too pink and red and turquoise. But I love it. It's totally my vibe. So, um, but anybody else on here? I see six people. Hey, introduce yourself. I don't know. I still don't know August. August Raymond Rex. What your message means. So but tell me where you're from, and if you're still watching. I was going to end this about 5 minutes ago, but let's go to noon my time. 8 more minutes, so then I can get all my stuff done. And then this will become a video. So, gosh, I appreciate you guys. So, um, thank you, Marcia. Yes, Chessie's Adventures. You too. What's your plans for Christmas? Do you have um place to go, or I don't know how close you are to family where you're at. I know you traveled last year. Um, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see your trailer done. No, nothing. Well, you have a good day. I'll probably get on YouTube in the morning. We're gonna do our little thing here with the dogs, and then we have Brooke, my husband's English Springer Spaniel, that has cancer. And I know it's her last Christmas. I half the time don't even know if she's gonna make it through the night. She's breathing hard and stuff. We took her to the vet about a week ago, and he says it's just, her body, her organs and stuff. It's my husband's bird dog. He's gonna be the one that makes that decision. But we're gonna stay home till about noon, and then we're gonna run down to the kids, get down there about 1:30. We're gonna eat at 3. We'll probably do our gifts, we'll eat, and then we'll come home. She's starting to be incontinent, and I don't want to leave her outside. We are supposed to have rain here tomorrow, so I don't want to leave her outside. I could leave Ryan, obviously. Lobo stays out if we're not home, and he only pretty much comes in at night because he's another one. He pants all the time. He's just too hot in the house. But gonna stay home with your dogs. So when was that trip you went on? Was that last year? Gosh. Yeah, really. Hey, everybody, I know I need to run down and get a ticket. Yeah, but I'll split it with you. No, yeah. Well, good luck with that. I probably won't even have a chance to get a ticket because I think our store closes here, and I've got to get these cookies done. So, um, but I hope you win it too. And if you do, make me a promise you're going to come to Colorado when you're or meet somewhere. I'm going to do Route 66 with a vintage group at some point because the 100th anniversary of Route 66 is 2026. And so I'm in Colorado Vintage Campers and obviously a couple other vintage camper groups. Right now the time frame is either May to September, and it's just going to have to work out where I have 3 weeks because I'm going to do it like it's meant to be and stopping at every little roadside attraction. I've done it from the West Coast because I grew up California. So Santa Monica all the way to Oklahoma, well, Missouri, but I have never done it from Chicago. When I was in Chicago, I went downtown and found where it started. I took the train with my friend of mine a couple years ago from here, and we went to Chicago to see a friend of hers that was passing away. And so I said, well, Julie, while we're here, we're going to go stand on the street sign. Somewhere I have a picture of that. But anyways, yeah. But there's so many groups that, and not just vintage groups, but I'm in Sisters on the Fly, and I wanted to plan my own group. And they says, well, you can't do just a vintage group. You got to include everybody. And I really want to do it. I just think it'd be a fun video thing to record with just vintage motorhomes and RVs and stuff. But anyways, I'm going to look into putting that band together, Marcia. So you be the singer, Jimmy will be lead guitar, and I'll do drums if I can. I haven't. I last time I picked up drumsticks, I was trying to pick them up just to. We have a African drum in the house, and I was showing my grandkids, and they would. I couldn't grip them. I have no grip, so I don't really think. I might have to take up something else. Back in the day, I learned piano. I wonder if I could pick that back up. I was like 7, 7 to 9. My mom made me take. Didn't make me, but I wanted to do the drums, and she didn't want me doing them yet. So I was in junior high before I got to play the drums. So junior high, high school, marching band and concert. Um, and then I did that little girl thing that around California. We weren't very popular. We did play at the beach a lot. So okay, well you win that tonight, Marcia, and you will come to Colorado. You got a place. You can either bring your trailer. We got 40 acres here. We haven't sold this yet, so um Jimmy, are you still here? And I appreciate you two sticking with me. It says we have others, but nobody's introducing themselves. So I've had a couple comments. Um, but please go make sure you like the video before you leave. And we got 2 minutes. So does anybody want to write anything and say anything? I'm gonna wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. Um, Tonight and the morning, and spend it. I mean, all of us have dogs, so I know I'll be spending a good portion of ours with our dogs. Um, and I know you guys will too, both Marcia and Jimmy. So yeah, enjoy your day. Jimmy, are you going anywhere for? I know you had a video, and I started watching it, and I think I was falling asleep. I clicked on it, and I don't think I even got to start it. I was dozing off, and I need to finish it, but something about being invited but isolated or something. Um, I finished my wrapping yesterday before we went to get firewood. I got everything wrapped and put the toys in the dogs. Oh, there you are. So, Jimmy, are you doing anything for Christmas tomorrow? Yeah, I put stuff in the dog socks. I cut that off, but I've got 2 toys coming from Amazon today. They were supposed to be here yesterday, and now they're saying they're coming today. And I have a FedEx package coming from Chewy.com. So that'll be the rest of their treats. So we're really spoiling Brooke because with this soft tissue sarcoma, started in May like a golf ball, and now it's on her back by her tail, and she's eating good, she's drinking a lot of water, and I've known with other dogs that have gotten elderly, I hope she makes it to the new year. My husband did not want. I asked him if he wanted another Springer Spaniel for Christmas. He said no. He wants her to have this time, and he'll find one afterwards. So, anyways, so well, guys, it's straight up noon here, so I'm going to end this. But Merry Christmas to who's ever on here. Um, Now it says back to 3. So, since I know you guys are on here posting, Marcia and Jimmy, Merry, Merry, Merry Christmas to you and your fur babies. And make the most of the day and do something fun. Go do something fun. We don't have weather, so it'll be easy for me to take the dogs for a walk. And I know Jimmy's pretty warm. Marcia, what kind of weather are you getting? Well, Jimmy, enjoy that meal. What are you cooking? Forties, huh? Yeah, you're like us because we are 40, 39 or 40. It's real overcast. We might get rain, but we're not going to have a white Christmas. It's very unusual. I live at 8,000 feet. So for us not to have snow on the ground from Halloween, definitely Thanksgiving, and through Christmas and all the way through like April is very unusual. This is the second year that we will not actually have white Christmas with a new snow. Like we've had snow, but it's been too warm and we've had a lot of wind. So that really melted it this last week. So yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I don't know if you can see out that window, Marcia, but that's bare ground up to my the north side of all the buildings. I just stuck that picture there because it travels in Ruby when I travel for the holidays. But yeah, this is highly unusual. We're too dry. Colorado needs moisture. Our side, and I know Jimmy on your side. Um, yeah. So thank you. Bye for now. Thank you so much. And let's go ahead and end this. And Merry Christmas to you both. I'm sure I'll be watching some videos of both of you later and catching up. And have a great Christmas Eve. So take care. Bye for now.